Yeah. Hey, everyone. Here we are for another episode of the Jesus Conversation podcast. First, I'm Dennis Deerdorf, um, somewhat the host here, I guess, but I have my good friend David Fulton. We're missing our other brother today. We'll have to track him down, see where he is, but here we are with David and I, and we've been thrashing around an issue here that we'd like to just stop and include you folks into, let you listen in, and we'd love to hear any thoughts you have. And it's a real common issue that all of us face in families or relationships or workplace or wherever. And it has to do with, especially if you're in a relationship or in a community where people are professing Christ, and everybody is assuming that one another knows God, and a very fair amount of what it means to be a Christian. But you have inner struggles, and you are aware of some people that are maybe not, let's say, what, holding their mark, if you will, doing what you think is appropriate, and you're at a place where what do you do? Do you do you go try to correct? Do you try to step in? Do you leave them to their own ways, destructive ways? So David here we've been talking about this because this is kind of personal with us as well. We have some issues in our own families where we are wondering where it is that we step in, and as dads and leaders of our homes and families, do we try to correct the situation? So, yeah, where do you step in, Dave?
Um, in the situation I'm in, you don't,
Hmm.
um, because you really have to be tuned with the situation and know whether the people involved are going to be receptive.
Hmm.
And if I step in, am I going to help the situation or make it worse?
That's right.
And something you really have to be aware of. And in my particular situation, if I try to step in, I feel I'm going to make it worse.
Hmm.
Um, I know the parties involved aren't going to be receptive to me stepping in.
Hmm.
So the only thing I can do is just pray about
Hmm.
it and ask for
Okay.
guidance,
Hmm.
look for opportunities to speak into lives when the
Hmm.
opportunity arises. And but even if I see the opportunity arise and I speak into the life, doesn't mean it's going to be received well.
Right. Hmm.
And so, but
Hmm.
again, unless I really feel a strong leading from the Lord to open my mouth and step in,
Hmm.
I'm just going to remain silent and
Hmm.
pray for my family members.
Okay. Now, the other layer that enters in here that most believers maybe haven't thought of, and that's watching how Jesus would have or did operate in these kinds of situations, whether it be a conflict, whether it be a healing or whatever. And and that perspective is coming from Jesus, in which he said, I cannot do anything but what I see the Father doing. And to me, that's a powerful perspective. And I believe it um, gives us the right sense of when and where and how to look at these situations. They're just, it's not just us independently involved. Now, give a little context. You and I have both been in ministry contexts where we've been dealing with people. You had a lot of opportunity to young adults, particularly,
Mhm.
and um, and you had an opportunity to see kids go off the rails constantly. Now, in the old, I say old, the former paradigm or system, we would be called upon to offer correction. it would be incumbent upon us as leaders of our ministries to in fact approach that person or persons and say, okay, this has got to stop. Here, what are we going to do provide correction? And that was the old expectation. But Dave, I'm sensing more and more as I'm living out Christ in me, and as I'm seeing the whole perspective of being inside of Jesus, I'm not so prone to follow that model anymore. I don't know about you. I think
Yeah,
I think
no,
what you just said about your own personal situation, I think that exemplifies that.
no, I agree. We've been taught really to jump in prematurely.
Mm-hmm.
You see your brother and sin, you got to go correcting. Well, what about maybe we should pray about it first and
Mm-hmm.
let God tell me if I'm the one that needs to bring correction to this person, or if
Mm-hmm.
God wants somebody else to do it, or maybe God wants to talk about falling into the pit. How far in the pit do you have to fall before you wake up?
Right.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
maybe the person needs to experience more pain before he's going to be receptive to anything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I can look at my own life, because I didn't come to Christ till I was in my 40s.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And what finally brought me to Jesus was worse, serious accident, loss of job.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Stu Weber in his book Tender Warrior talks about wake up calls,
Yeah.
and 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 here's this number three that is so popular in Christianity. I had three wake up calls before I woke up.
Well, that's kind of biblical, you know. Je- Jesus dealing with Peter 3 times, and there's some others that I can think of. So, yeah, yeah, you're right in the pattern.
Well, yeah, don't,
But
don't want to break the pattern.
that's right. But yeah, see, you're right. We pray first, and that's the point at which I'm really intrigued. Eh, Jesus saying, "I don't do anything." So unless I see the Father, he's obviously constrained. He's he sees his issues all the time around him. I'm sure life was messy and people that were following him, and if we dug deeper, we could probably, like Peter and some others who were being precocious and so forth. And and I have this sense that he guarded himself from jumping in and being overly correcting and or demanding. Uh, you know, I had a thought here just a moment ago about an incident. Oh yeah, well, it's a woman that was caught in adultery. He didn't find that woman. That woman was brought to him. It was like not like he not like he first saw her, as far as we know. They brought her and threw her at Jesus' feet and say, "Hey, come on, uh, we had a stone. What don't you think we should stone this person?" Of course, yeah, he had to think a minute. Now, wait a minute. Do I jump in with these guys and bring correction to this woman? She needs it. She's been caught red-handed. No, he steps back, and I'm sure, what's he do? That's the story, I believe, where he stoops down, writes in the sand, right? I think of it as probably a delay tactic till he got these signals. Yeah, he's okay, Father. What are you doing here? Yeah. And he says, hey, I don't condemn you. But you don't need to do this anymore. Okay. Wow. The most brilliant and the most effective way that I think someone in his position could treat a broken, uh, vulnerable woman at that point, or anyone, see that's been, she's, he might say, she's hit the bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Where is that sense, Dave? Where have you learned to watch what Father's doing? Now, you've been on mission trips, you've been in ministry. you've learned certain ways that you can detect, okay, I know God is in this. I know, Father, what he's doing. Can you describe that a bit, what that looks like to you?
Oh, there isn't a pattern, there isn't a technique. It's it's just having your focus on God, waiting on him
Mm-hmm.
to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Really, I mean, do I hear him audibly? No, not necessarily. Just have a sense
Mm-hmm.
that, okay, you know that it's the Holy Spirit telling you to do
Right.
something.
Okay.
And I don't know how to explain that. I just do.
Yeah. Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
but key, the key is having your focus on Christ, having your focus on God, so that you can hear when they speak
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
or when they give you that little nudge to go here or go there, say this, don't say this.
Right.
No, uh, I have felt the, I have had the feeling that, no, keep your mouth shut.
Mm-hmm.
What you want to say is not going to be worthwhile. Just like I've had, had the prompting to say something.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Yeah.
I guess really in a nutshell, it just comes down to my focus fully on the Lord so I
Mm-hmm.
can
Mm-hmm.
be aware of what he's doing.
Sure. And I look at Jesus in in the context of when he said this, he had just um, performed a couple miracles. And I find it interesting if you look there in John 4, the latter part of John 4, he's making his way back to Cana and he's intercepted by a man who's pleading with him, come heal my son. And so, abbreviating this story a bit and paraphrasing, Jesus realizes um, the man's got considerable earnest and desire and faith. He says, hey, go home, your son's healed. And I think, okay, here's a place where Jesus doesn't even know the boy, doesn't even see him personally, can't even lay hands on him, and he just declares he's healed. Now, if that's not an illustration of knowing exactly what God's doing, I- Jesus can't, how do you claim that healing by just you? And I would say, well, Jesus healed him remotely. No, I look at it differently. I'm saying he knew what Father was about. He knew the case. He, he didn't even have to see or know the situation. He just knew, okay, the man has come to me, uh, you know, and that right there signals, okay, here's an entry into God's working. He's brought this man to me. Okay, this is his need. I'm I'm putting my mouth, my words into Jesus, but he's sensing, okay, Father, yeah, I see you in this. So all I have to do is say, you're healed. Your son is healed. Then he goes into Jerusalem and he sees this man laying by a pool. And of course, the man's, invalid. And the whole reason he's there is that there's this myth that if they get into the pool when it's stirred, when the water bubbles, there's healing. And of course, Jesus questions him, what's going on? Why are you still here? He said, well, I can't get down in the water when it's stirred. And all Jesus says, well, listen, pick up your bag and get out of here. Never touched the man, as far as we know, but just declares what's should happen, I guess. And I marvel at that. Those are clear illustrations to me that Jesus was aware of something that was beyond him in a sense. That was the activity of God was at work, and he was just he was just a piece in that wheel. He was a cog in that wheel. His part was to, okay, here's I'm going to publicly declare what Father's doing. I find it fascinating, Dave.
Now let's look at the other side of the coin.
Okay.
When Jesus didn't do anything,
Yeah. All right.
okay? The the crippled man that Peter healed at the synagogue.
Mm-hmm.
How often did Jesus walk by this guy and not do anything?
Right.
Okay,
Good point.
when when he went to Simon's house to heal his mother-in-law,
Mm-hmm.
and all the people came to him, he performed healings
Mm-hmm.
that evening. The next morning, the disciples come looking for him. They can't find him because he's out praying. They said, "Hey, all these people are looking for you. They need to be healed."
Mm-hmm.
And Jesus said, "No, time to go to the other town
Right.
because I've come to pray or I've come to preach." So all these other people that wanted healing, he just walked off.
How dare him?
So it's and we have to understand it wasn't Jesus who was healing; it was God.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And oh,
Hey, hello, Don.
hey, hey, do you have a heart?
I had an echocardiogram.
Yeah, the heart. I found it.
Yeah. Welcome, Don, to the Jesus Conversation podcast.
Um,
Yeah.
so again, it yes, he did the things God asked him to do, and he didn't do the things God asked him to do
Mm-hmm.
or not do. Now,
Right. Right.
it's time to move on.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
we have to, we need to remember that in our dealings with whether it's our family or other situations,
Mm-hmm.
that we said, well, God, I want to get involved, but am I supposed to?
Yeah. Now, I've been as you know, in the pastoral ministry for a lot of years, and I've had ample opportunities to pray for people who are sick or dying or however, right?
Mhm.
And it was largely expected of my position that my role was to intercede on people's behalf to bring the healing or restoration to a loved one, and that I was trained professionally, had the anointing, had the gifting, and all of those things at my my um, disposal, and that I should exercise that, right? But all of those years, I always felt there was if I went into a situation and just began to labor in prayer with people and pray for Aunt Molly, she'd be healed, or mom or dad. I always felt like, oh, this is so um, ingenuous, I guess. I can't think of words quite right, but um, I could go through the motions, but it wasn't me that was going to do it. Now, with the understanding, the perspective I have now, if someone asked me to come and intercede for them on behalf of one or an issue that needs correcting, I'm going to be like you said, Dave. I'm very hesitant. And I'm going to say, you know what? Let's let's all entertain the prayer of asking Father, okay, what is he doing here? What what is it that's happening? And I find so much more genuineness in that approach. That takes the burden off of me. I'm
Mhm.
not the one operating here. I don't know how you feel about that.
Well, it's sad because we're taught because you have the fancy paperwork on your wall because you went to the proper schools.
Hmm.
If you're the one
Yeah.
Well, why can't I be the one?
Mm-hmm.
Why can't I go directly to God? I don't have all the paperwork on my wall.
Mm-hmm.
I got a big battle scene going on my wall.
I love it. Mm-hmm.
uh, but why aren't we taught that we, the layperson, can go directly to God?
Yeah. Well, here's another thing that adds into this. I was thinking about this morning. The other layer that comes into play here is that the church Christianity has taught us, and we taught it, I taught it, that God gives certain giftings to people, right?
Mhm.
Gifts of healing, gifts of faith. And that's what those gifts are intended to do, was to enable that person to be the resource or the agent to bring about the healing or restoration. And so that's why he gives us the gifts. Well, I'm thinking that has really led to a lot of misunderstanding. I think the gifts have been totally or largely misnomered. That it's a misunderstanding of that, the whole point. The gifts aren't given to us to enable us to do things. They're gifts that give us the illustration of Christ in us. They're gracelets showing who God is in our lives. And it's through that gifts that he may use us. Now, you may not see the difference there, but I see it real distinctly. It's not me performing my gift. It's God using the attribute he already has in me, performing his work. Okay. There's to me, there's a huge difference. And going back to Jesus, I'm not doing anything that I don't see God already doing.
You know, the other problem that I believe came about with the gifts were taught is people felt they had a gift, they got comfortable in it,
Hmm.
and that's where they would stay because
Hmm.
they were comfortable. And I don't think necessarily that the gifts, the way they're talked about, was meant that okay, this is the one you have, and you're never going to get another one.
Right. Hmm.
So carry on,
Right.
be comfortable. I don't think that was the way they were intended.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, I think I really think I think the way the gifts have been taught, our understanding of them, there's it's a misunderstanding, and there's a lot more to it than what we realize.
Exactly. Yeah, I believe so too, Dave. And see, the detriment of that whole paradigm is that the person who is acclaimed with that gift is very vulnerable to issues of pride and self-sufficiency. He he or she is lifted into prominence for whatever it is that they're able to do. And I've seen a lot of abuse of that. It all becomes about me as with the gift, and God or Jesus is left out of it.
It it almost creates a pride in a person that
Excuse
becomes detrimental.
me. Hmm. Hmm.
Um, similar to the situation we were talking about before we we started recording here was about the individual we know that perhaps he's gotten a little too proud
Hmm. Hmm.
in the situation he's
Yeah.
in. I mean, it's easy to do. It's. I mean, we all have fallen victim to it.
Hmm. Well, and Dave, I think the reason and the background for this is that we have largely in Christianity held to this idea that we can be like God. that we in fact are separate from God. He uses us, or we do things for him. Um, but this idea that we're separate. And as a believer, the idea is that you build your maturity and faith so you can be the best service for God. Okay, but in a sense, you're independent, right? Well, the paradigm that Jesus is introducing to us here is that there's no such thing. That's the illusion. Jesus says, I can never be me and without God. It's always God and me.
Mhm.
It's me watching the Father. I'm a vessel that he inhabits, he's living in, and I in him. It can never be anything other than me and him, anywhere.
Yeah. When you start looking at the verses where it talks about Christ in us,
Hmm.
okay, and we start with John 14, I am in the Father in me, and I in you.
Right.
Okay. So if we take, let's try to simplify this to three verses.
Hmm.
Okay. Jesus says, I can do nothing except what I see the Father doing.
Right.
Okay. I am in the Father in me, and I in you.
Hmm.
And Paul says, it is not I who live, but Christ in me.
Yes. There you go.
So if we can wrap our mind around Christ in me,
Hmm. as
well as God is in
Hmm.
me,
Hmm.
Paul
Yep.
at one point should say, glorify God in me. Jesus, I am in the Father, Father
Hmm.
in me, and I in you. Well, that puts both of them in me.
Exactly.
I got both God and Jesus in me.
Yeah. We are
So
very entwined.
all,
It's all intertwined together.
all of a sudden, there is no performance involved.
No.
It's just doing what we see the Father doing and what Jesus is leading us to do.
Right.
So all we have to do is be aware of God,
Hmm.
Jesus.
Hmm.
There is no performance. Guilt and shame are out the window.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So it's just a matter of, can I keep my focus, like they say, keep your focus on the ball.
Hmm.
Okay. In this case, the ball is Jesus and God. I keep my focus there.
Right. Dave, isn't it? It's just as simple as saying, stop asking God what I should do versus God, okay, what are you doing? Stop thinking that I'm needing to ask him, "Okay, what do I do here, Father? What is it I have to do?" That whole perspective, that question needs to be removed from our mind. It's not that question anymore. The question is, God, show me you.
So it goes back to Blackaby and
Oh,
experiencing God.
exactly.
You
Hmm.
know, let God show you where He's working and let Him
Hmm.
have you join Him.
Hmm.
Again, it all goes back to I don't have to do anything. But be aware of what God is asking me. Be aware of where God's asking me to join Him.
Exactly. You've had those experiences where something drops into your lap or someone walks into your life and you realize, okay, something's happening here. I didn't entertain this or ask for this, or I didn't go after this. This this situation has been dropped on me, or I've been included in it, and you realize, okay, I'm sensing something else going on here that is beyond what I would have thought about or even suggested. You've had experiences like that, no doubt.
Oh yeah.
And it just gives you this awareness. So wait a minute. Uh, not having sought after this, not intending anything in this way, but all of a sudden here I am confronted with this. I'm more prone to think, okay, wait a minute. That tells me this right away is something God's doing. Now, not always. I mean, it might be a generalization, but I'm finding that that's one key for me. Just as I said a few moments ago about Jesus. Here, he's confronted with a man begging him to come heal his son. Well, okay. I mean, Jesus sees something in that man's earnestness and why he sought him out at that particular moment and came from he's sensing, Father, you're in this, aren't you?
Mhm.
Yeah. And then walking by the pool, Jesus didn't go in there looking for people to heal. He was going by the pool, probably was on the way into wherever he needed to go, and all of a sudden he's drawn to the attention of this man. You know, I don't remember if he's crying out, but he's lying there, pathetic case, and Jesus is drawn to him. Now, why wasn't he drawn to hundreds, well, however many others were laying around that pool there that day, but only that man?
Yeah.
I'm sure there were others in the same situation.
Yeah.
So I find it really thrilling to operate this way. And boy, if I had learned this early in my pastoral ministry career, don't get alarmed, folks, but I'm having to say it would have been a lot more fun. And think of all the squabbles and the infighting and bickering. And if I could have just said, well, Father, this isn't me. It's what are you doing? And let me know if I need to
Well,
get involved.
I think, one of the challenges that I'm sure you had, and I saw it in other pastors, and I've shared this story, that you find yourself in a position of where you feel obligated to give an answer.
Oh, yeah. Well, that was
Okay.
what you were paid to do, Dave.
Yeah. And I'm sitting in on this one pastor and this one young college kid, and I'm listening to the conversation, and I realize the pastor can't answer the question as hard as he's trying.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
the answer was, boy, the pastor needed to say to this young man, I can't answer this. You need to take it on.
Yeah.
You and God need to have a conversation about it.
Yeah,
He
exactly.
will give you the answer.
Mm-hmm.
And, but the pastor never said that. And the guy left the office frustrated because he couldn't get an answer.
Boy, that pressure, I tell you, in a professional field of ministry, that is huge. And you feel like your career is on the line. You feel like I'm paid to provide some answer here. They've come to me and looked to me as the source. I I need to present the right scriptural backing or whatever. Dave, there's so much pressure there. And many times you flub through it and you hope they're going to be nice and say, "Oh, thank you, Pastor. I needed that."
Remember our trips to India,
Oh boy.
and we were invited to small churches and the expectation of us bringing healing.
Oh man.
It's like I remember praying there going, this I know, you know, like like if this person isn't healed, I'm gonna feel like a failure.
Oh
It
my.
was just,
Yes. You were
in
we
in
what was it, Dave? We were looked at as the great white uh, emissaries, messiahs, that have come to them, and wow, just what they needed, somebody to come and provide their healing and their resources and whatever. Oh my goodness.
and we should have been talking to them about you need to spend time with God
Absolutely.
to pursue this. On the other hand, like the one kid I met in a prison facility who resented us
Hmm.
because we were white and you guys think you're all
Oh,
godly and
yeah.
you know,
We're Westerns. Yeah.
yeah. And I'm watching him stand in the back as mission leaders doing his preaching thing. And I'm watching this kid. I can tell he's just hating it.
Hmm.
I walked over to him. I really felt led to go over to him and talk to him.
Hmm.
What turned him around was when I pointed out that Jesus wasn't white.
Right.
I looked at me, I go, Jesus wasn't a white man.
Yeah. Yeah.
I said, where did he do his ministry?
Hmm.
He told me. I said, okay. So the color of the people there are dark, not as dark as you probably, but definitely darker than me. So he
Right.
was somewhere in between.
Uh-huh.
And we start talking about white people in the Bible versus black people in the Bible and go through this whole thing. And I was able to, point out to him that, okay, Jesus wasn't white. This isn't a white thing.
No. No.
And
No.
stuff, his defenses dropped and he started to realize that, okay, maybe there is something to this.
Yes. Bringing, yes. Helping these people find Christ for themselves,
Mhm.
getting to see Jesus who he really is and how he presents himself to each of them. But yes, the tendency was for us to come in as the answer-alls. We're the great white Western professionals, however, but yeah, I felt so out of my comfort zone in much of that time. It was a great learning experience for me, and I think it was part of the leading up to realizing I can't do anything of my own. It's
Yeah.
it's it's only what I see Father doing and participate with him. And Dave, has, has been such a turnaround, such a great release for me. And and I have seen of late, I'll never forget. I mentioned, I think maybe a year ago or so, I mentioned this story of a close friends and the father of this family. His wife had been involved in a very serious automobile accident, and so he's in the hospital, not expected to live. And of course, they call me, please come, please come. Dad is dying. We just want you to come and pray. Well, what? Okay.
Hmm.
And so we go, and I, I'm just thinking, what am I praying for? They think he's dying. Uh, he's he's been so badly injured. Am I going to walk in here and say, God, please heal him? No, no. I had the wherewithal even at that moment to realize I'm out of my league here, Father. I'm really waiting on you here. I go in the room and he's laying there, and they claim he's not even he's comatose. He won't even respond. Well, he sees me and says, "Hey, how are you?" And of course, they're going, "What?" So I just took his hand and I said, let's just think about Jesus here, and just think about him in this room and he in your life, and let's just marvel about him a little bit and revel in his glory and see what happens. And well, I prayed that for a few minutes and felt like, okay, amen. Well, and everybody said, oh, okay, thank you. So I leave. Well, I get the call not soon after that. Dad's doing great. They're going to release him from the hospital. So at that moment, temptation was to think in my head, oh, okay, that prayer really worked. No, I had the sense, thank you, Jesus, to know, I was just there helping people focus on the Father, focus on Jesus. And whatever he was doing, he let him do it. If the guy was going to die, okay. If he's going to live, great. I just resolved to that. Dave, what a turning point in
Mhm.
ministry. Just to have that wherewithal. Hey, it's not about me here. Maybe I just helped facilitated the awareness of God's presence in that room and in that brother's life. Okay. And let the Father do what he's going to do. And he apparently gave the man, he did. He's still alive today. Yeah. So when you can get to that point, and I'm still learning in this, I think there's so much more to understand. And this is why I appreciate having a conversation with you. We can compare notes and talk about what it is, how we walk with Jesus in us and we in him and me and the Father, and have that awareness. Okay, Father, this is your world. You're working. This I need eyes and I need to be sensing where it is you're working. And we've talked about our personal issues here, our families. I want to just keep that awareness. Father, I'm watching every moment, every phone call, every note, every email, whatever. Okay, yeah, maybe not. So far, I'm not seeing where it is that Father's working or that He's inviting me into. He's working, but at this point, I've not seen an invitation to join Him,
Yeah.
and
No,
that's what.
because
Go back. Go ahead.
it because God may have somebody else that needs to speak into the life that they'll
Absolutely.
listen to. I remember when you first become a parent, or particularly when your kids become teenagers, you know, um, people I knew who had been through the teenager years would tell me, they said, yeah, you can tell them one thing and they won't listen. The guy in the produce store tell them the same thing and they'll think, oh yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, right.
Well,
Yeah, you feel like
this,
chopped liver.
yeah, you know, so it's
Where am
like,
I?
um, God knows who and when,
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
uh, that we're going to listen to.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's an awesome thing to comprehend that
Mhm.
I'm just a little piece here in that whole process. I'm not the pivotal person that I'm led to believe or I'm told. Uh, God is bigger than me, all right?
Mhm.
It's his world. And he is doing a he's doing an awesome job. And what little piece I have or can play in that, that's up to him.
No, oh gosh, you know, I come to, I become a Christian at, I don't know, 40 something, mid to late 40s. And I'm in Rwanda, and Archbishop Collini, we're having dinner with Archbishop Collini in Rwanda. And he's talking to our ministry, our mission leader, and he asked about me because I'm the oldest one there, but I'm the newest Christian.
Yeah.
Okay. And it was that obviously a God moment because Bishop Cleany comes over and sits down next to me and starts talking to me.
Hmm.
The stuff that he told me just changed my life.
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, and it made me aware of how God, it was, it was making, I should say, making me aware of how God works.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, because the things he told me, like I say, absolutely changed my life
Right.
and how I pursued mission trips and how I did a lot of other things. So, yeah, it's Archbishop Collini was very receptive. Obviously, heard God say, "Go talk to this guy. He needs your help." You know,
Yeah. Oh, yes.
and and that's how we need to be. We need to be aware of who God is asking us to talk to and who He's asking
Right.
us not to talk to.
Yeah. And you're absolutely right. You know. You and just you don't know how to explain it, but you just know.
Yeah,
And you may not even be certain as exactly how the outcome is going to turn out, but you know you need to be involved.
yeah.
And here again, I think taking a chapter out of Jesus' life and how he operated, he knew he just had this inner sense. Eh, Well, when you think of it this way, he never uh, up to the point of accepting mankind's sin on the cross, he never had the consciousness of being apart from God. Think about that. He he was born into life infused with the consciousness of always being united with the Father. Okay. Something his predecessor Adam lost,
Mhm.
right? He comes into the world. He is aware right from the beginning, instinctively, intuitively, born with this awareness of Father in him and Father in the world. Wow. Now, his death and resurrection has restored that to us. Um, and yet I think there's still a bit of, what do we want to say, growing into it. It's not coming natural to us as it did to Jesus. So, but it's there, and we are becoming more and more attuned to it as we see the old programming and the old sense of independence, as we spoke about a few moments ago, the 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 sense of being independent from God, we remove that from our thinking and begin to speak the fact, no, Christ lives in me, Father lives in me, and I in him, and I know his heart. I know he's mine. I am not separated from him. So, growing in that consciousness of my union with Father. And when I think of that, Dave, there's also this whole idea, I'm no longer looking at God, I'm looking through his eyes. He lives in me, right? I'm looking out from him. I'm seeing what he sees.
Uh, and that is so hard. I'm constantly reminded because there's people that are just going to irritate you,
Oh yeah.
and then you have to check yourself. Um, because I'm a veteran, I get all these ads for all kinds of shirts and hats and stuff to buy that have
Yeah.
veteran sayings on it. One caught my eye. I went, wow, this one makes more sense than any of them I've ever read.
Hmm.
And I mean, the graphics on it were really pretty nice. There's the American flag, a soldier in front of the flag pointing at you, and he's got angel wings behind him.
Oh.
Very simply said, never look down on anyone unless you're helping them up. And I went, oh my God,
Oh my. That's powerful.
truer words have never been.
That's right.
And it's like,
Hmm.
I want to buy the shirt, but I don't.
Right.
That's okay. That's too much accountability.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Do I want to own that?
But I mean, what a phenomenal statement.
No, it is. But it says so much. That's so much truth. Yeah. Because it, it rings of truth because this is who God is. And it goes to my thinking, this is how God operates. He doesn't look down on us unless he can bring us up. Or
It's
how you said it. I don't
well,
think I repeated it quite right, but
we're taught. I was taught that in this life, God's correction, God's chastening is done with love and discernment
mm-hmm,
to make us
mm-hmm,
a better person.
exactly.
My question is, if I don't believe in Jesus Christ when I die and I go to hell, why has that changed?
Mm-hmm,
All of
mm-hmm.
a sudden is God's love and discernment.
Yeah, yeah,
Anyway, that's a whole other story and a whole other conversation.
yeah.
But again, that's what that sure reminded me of,
Mm-hmm.
is the way God looks at us.
Yeah,
His hand is always there to help us out.
exactly. He bears us up. Yeah.
Yeah. And the other thing, you said something a few minutes ago that we really need to take to heart. That is, when we speak into somebody's life, exactly how you put it, it's not always going to be well received,
Mm-hmm.
but it is not our job to convert anybody.
Exactly right.
All we're trying to do is plant seeds or water.
Mm-hmm.
One of those examples is a young lady that our son had a child with.
Mm.
Uh, she made the comment to me one day, and I forget exactly how it came up, but she was had a question about God. So I offered her the book, He Loves Me,
Mm-hmm.
and she eventually gave it back, and no
Mm.
words were spoken. Well, I found out later that she actually read the book twice,
Oh,
but rejected.
oh man.
Don't tell me, yeah, she's not buying it. And my first thought was, seeds are planted,
Right. Exactly. No.
and
Yep.
in God's time,
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Seed was
as
planted
Jesus
firmly.
said, yeah, as Jesus said in the Bread of Life sermon,
Mm-hmm.
no one comes to me until the Father has prepared.
Exactly. The Father at work again. Yep.
So we have to remember it's not our job to go out there headhunting to bring people to Christ.
Mm.
It's our job to listen to God and talk to the people He wants us to talk
Thank you, David.
and say what He asks us to say.
I need to hear that. Why weren't you saying that to me 20 years ago, 25 years ago?
Well, but then think about it a minute. You have had a profound effect on a lot of men and a lot of people, uh, knowing what you knew at the time.
Thank God. Yes. Yep. I may not have quite the perspective I needed, but God nevertheless was working.
Yeah. I mean, oftentimes I think that God was sitting up there going, "David, you're an idiot for saying that, but I'll work with it. I'll turn it around eventually."
Well, God can do the impossible. There's a lot of people he's used that we would have thought, no way. No
Yeah,
way.
I look back on some of that stuff and go, "Oh my God, what was I thinking?"
Well,
But then
yes,
that's what we knew. That's what
that's
we've
all we
been
knew.
taught. That's all we knew.
That's all we knew. Thank God for the revelation of what we see now, and understanding the revelation of Christ in us and we in him and inside of the Father. John 14:20. It is so powerful. And that
Uh,
we live now watching what how we're seeing through Father's eyes. We see him at work, and we know it's him, and we join him. I love this. It's the way to live.
Oh,
Well, sir, thank you. Thanks for the conversation. And we trust
absolutely.
those
Thank
watching
you.
and listening today have been encouraged, and that you'll learn and begin to grow in that revelation of what Father's doing in your life and around you. Take heart. He's working to the good. Everything he said, he promises will be for the good. So have a great week, and let's continue to watch and look for Father. Be sensitive, trusting him. He's going to show us at the right time our own problems, our own situations, and people around us. So, okay,
Well, thank you for the conversation. You have a great week as well.
will do, Dave. Appreciate the time. And rest up from all of your graduation and family.
Yeah. Go take a nap now.
Okay. Take care, brother.
Talk to you next week.
You bet. Bye now.
Bye.